Okay, so this is how you would go about uploading a footage shot on a camera and how to be using video editing software. Chances are you're probably using flip cameras, in which case you just literally plug in the USB port into the PC or laptop, and then you take it off that way. Or else you're using an SD card, in which case you plug it in and take the footage off. I'm going to use footage that I've already got. So first off, you actually use Adobe Premiere Pro. So you find Adobe Premiere Pro on your laptop or PC, open it up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom into the screen now. Okay, so when you start Adobe Premiere Pro, this is the screen that comes up. It says welcome to Adobe Premiere Pro, and it basically asks you if you've any recent projects. Here you can select them, or here the first icon is new project, which is what you'll be wanting to click. Okay, but if you're coming back to it, okay, having the next day or something to continue editing your project, you want to go to open project, but inevitably your project on the next day will turn up into recent projects and you'll be able to click it a lot easier. Okay, but otherwise for the time being you just want to click on new project. Click on it. Now you get another dialog window turn up, and it will just say lots of things that you don't really need to concern yourself about. Do not do anything on this screen other than literally you've got two options. If you want to save to a memory stick or something and not actually to the laptop or computer, which is what I would recommend because the laptops and computers don't have an awful lot of memory, you select browse, and then you would pick, say, your USB or whatever it is, and then literally start a folder and select. But in this case, mine already goes to my USB, my external hard drive. So I'm just going to, what you want to do is here, beforehand, you just give it a title. So science video, or whatever it is, with your name or like that, and then you want to go OK. Click on OK, and then it will fire it up. So you'll get another window. Again, here, don't touch it. Just literally just go OK. So on the second dialog window that pops up, you won't understand a lot of it, maybe, perhaps. That's fine. That's good. Ignore it. Just go OK. So after you go OK, you'll get the workspace. This is where we edit. Okay? So let me just walk you through what things are. In the top left-hand corner, you can do things like, in the top left-hand corner, you've got source. Okay, so you can watch clips there without committing yourself to putting it actually into your project. That's handy in terms of knowing what to get rid of, or if you want to edit anything like or trim the clips down, anything like that. Basically what that's there for is, so you can very quickly look at footage without actually putting it into your project, like your timeline. So down here in the bottom left hand side, this is called your footage bin. This is where you want to either drag and drop individual video files from the SD card, or else you can actually import it, but you can do that up in the options up here and the top of the screen. But personally speaking, the easiest thing to do would be to open up the SD card or the flip cam that you've got when you've plugged it in, open the files up to see the video files, and drag the relevant video files into this bin. I know it's odd calling it a bin, but that's what it's called, a footage bin. And this is basically where you're going to take your footage and put it into your project. Nothing happens, okay, in your project until you drag the footage over into the bottom right hand corner, and this is called the timeline. Above the timeline in the top right hand corner is actually the screen that shows you the footage that's on your timeline. Nothing happens in the top right hand corner until you first drag footage into your timeline in the bottom right hand corner. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by all this so you can see it in action. I'll talk as I'm going along so you can kind of understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look in one of my folders. I'm going to try and find some rough footage or something. Okay, so it doesn't matter, I'll just get any clip and put too much thought into this. So what you want to do is when you find the clips, you might not turn up like a thumbnail image, but it might do, it might not, or you might just get literally a file name, which is fine. Either way, click on it, keep your finger on the left button of the mouse or whatever, and you want to drag it. See, I'm dragging it. Hover it over the Premiere Pro icon at the bottom of the screen. It will pop back up, the Premiere Pro. Alright, and then all you've got to do is literally go over to the bin. You can see it here. Let go, and then it will load up in here so you can see the file. Now it's going to be a lot easier to show things from now on, so this is it. So what we're going to do is, like I said, in the top left hand screen you can literally watch this. You click on it, you drag it upwards, a little hand appears like as if it's holding something, let go and it will drop it. And then here you can go, there's some nifty things. You can press play here, so you can see where I'm hovering here, and then the video will play. This is the preview window, so nothing's going on except just seeing the clip. And then you can press stop. Now this is the thing, you can see, if you look clearly, there's an orange box around the top left hand side of the screen, and that means that's what you're working on. So if I press spacebar, it'll play it. If I press spacebar again, it pauses it, and that's really important as a shortcut. It will save you a lot of time. So generally speaking, what you really want to do is grab the file again, and you want to drag it to the bottom right hand side, which is the timeline. And as you can see boxes appearing. What you want to do is get it on video 1 and audio 1. Do not let go until you have it on video 1, audio 1. Whatever it says to say, yeah, change settings, that's fine. So now we have the video in the timeline. So now if I press spacebar to play it, you can see that in the actual timeline window this is playing. If I press spacebar again, pauses. So this is where you do the editing, and whatever you do when you export the clip, we'll get into exporting later. When you're finished making the video, whatever happens on this timeline is what you'll get. In the top left hand corner is irrelevant, alright, except just the preview clips. Nothing you do over here will end up in your final project. So we have a timeline here, and basically you have a little line, a little red line. Okay, zoom in a little bit. You have a little red line, and as you press spacebar, it plays, and as the video plays, actually what I'm going to do is going to get rid of the sound for a sec. So I've just muted the sound, okay? So when I press spacebar, the clip's playing, and you'll see, if you look carefully, that the red line is moving, the timeline is moving. Okay? So you also have two bits there. You have video, so the video stream, so that's the images, the moving images that you've shot, and then you have audio, which is the sound that you shot. Okay, so at the same time they're both put together. So when you film, we don't really think about this, but obviously there's vision and there's sound, images and sound. And on Premiere Pro, it puts it into two separate bits on the editing. So you might want to choose to add music or take music out, take the sound out, cut dialogue out but leave the image in, take the image out but leave the sound in. That's why it's on two different lines on the video editing software. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it, and what we're going to do is, probably the quickest way to do this is actually just to tell you the shortcuts on the keyboard that will be very helpful to you. Now, this is really important. So at the moment, you can see, if you look carefully, if I put it up here, the cursor on the screen is an arrow, which is what you would get on most IT programs. So if I press C, which means cut, and I bring it down here, you will see, if you look, it's turned into a razor blade. Okay, so the razor blade allows me to cut the footage. Now, you can obviously, what you want to do is you can grab the timeline at any time and you can sort of drag it, you can move it, alright? So, and if you want to take it frame by frame, you can press the left cursor and just keep pressing the button on the keyboard, and it goes frame by frame backwards, or if you press the forward cursor, it goes forward frame by frame. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to cut. So let's say I want to cut everything until the actual footage from the trailer comes on. So what I do is I press C to press for cut, and then it turns into a little mini razor blade. I've now stopped it exactly, the red line exactly where I want it on the timeline. Okay, so everything before that red line is stuff that I want to cut. So I literally put, when you see the razor blade, there's also a little dotted vertical line. So you want to line the dotted vertical line up with the red timeline arrow line, the red timeline. Click it, press left click, and then if you'll see that it's now, you've got two separate bits on the video timeline, and one's turned black. Okay, and the other one stayed the same. That's to tell you that you've now cut the timeline. So if you press V for Viz, all right, and it turns it back into a cursor. So watch, C turns it into a razor blade, all right. V turns it into an arrow, which is a pointer, a clicker, whatever. C, razor blade, V, arrow. So you'll need both of those. Very little else you'll need actually. So I'm going to hover the arrow over the bit that I don't want anymore. I'm going to click on it and it highlights it. Okay, and then what I can do is I just press literally backspace or delete, and it will get rid of that piece of footage that I don't want. Now the trouble is, okay, if I go back to the beginning of the timeline, okay, and I press play, it's black, alright, because there's no footage there anymore. I've deleted it, and it won't come back on until it gets to the bit that I wanted. Okay, the way around that is whatever you want to cut out, alright, you've got to razor blade it where you want to start the bit that you want to get rid of, and then at the end of the bit you want to get rid of, before you actually keep the bit that you do want, you literally click on the space once you delete that bit. Alright, so you delete the bit and you click on it, left click in the space missing, alright, between each of your clips that now are there, right click, and you get one option, ripple delete. That's the one you want. Click on it, and it now gets rid of the gap that you've created through cutting out a bit of footage. So if I go back now, as you can see, it goes back to exactly where I put it before, where it's the old men sitting down in the heat. Alright, so let's suppose, again, so to show you on the timeline again, so here's, think of it like, the best way of thinking about it is think of it like Play-Doh. Alright, so this is a long string of Play-Doh. Like Play-Doh, I can chop bits out and then put it back together again, and you wouldn't notice that I chopped something out. So what I'm going to do is, after this old man here on the camera, okay, so this bit here, that very brief shot of someone with a fire hose, alright, I'm going to take out the fire hose, okay, and what's after the fire hose? The man again, alright, so it's there's a bit of a fire hose, but it's still the man either side, as you can see. Yeah, so that's one piece of footage where just before, in the insert in the middle, there's a shot of someone by a fire hydrant, fire hose, spraying water in the street. I'm going to chop that out so then you don't even see that anymore, and it's just going to be the guy. So okay, so you use the left and right arrows to set it up. So I'm going to press left arrow backwards until I get to the man, okay, and then I'm going to press C for the razor blade. I'm going to use the dotted line, drawing the dotted line on the icon of the razor blade up to the red line. I'm going to press it. So now I've made that slice. And you'll know you've done it because you'll see, okay, you'll see the slice like you would in Play-Doh. So now I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to forward arrow, gone a bit too far, backwards arrow, so I just want to get rid of that man. Alright, so this guy, use the razor blade again, join it up with the red line, press left click. Okay, so now you've made the cuts, but like Play-Doh, again you need to take out the bit you want to cut out, and then you can rejoin the two bits that you do want to keep. So what I'm going to do is press V again for the cursor. I'm going to highlight the little clip, okay, that I've cut. I'm going to press backspace to delete it. I'm going to left click the mouse in the gap that I've now created, okay, otherwise I get that black bit you saw earlier on. I'm going to right click the mouse, and there's ripple delete. There's one option. I'm going to select it. There's one option. I'm going to select it, and then it rejoins it again. So now if I take the timeline back again, okay, so you will not see now the man by the fire hydrant. See, you didn't see the man by the fire hydrant there. This is more footage, okay. Now actually I made it a bit clumsy there, because if you watch it, you get that flick. Alright, so what you want to do is get the cursor and you come down here to the little bar. So you want to come down here to the little bar. So follow the arrow right down to the bottom, right, and there's a little bar. Alright, and you can go like that up and down the timeline. Okay, but what you want to do is get on the right hand side, there's a little box on that bar, and you can sort of zoom in, okay, to your timeline. And this makes it easier for me to do just that little split seconds, as you can see, that I don't want of that person still by the fire hydrant. So then I'm going to use the keys, the cursor keys again to find it. So there it is, it's there. Alright, so if I press it forwards, I know where it is now. I'm going to press C to use the razor blade, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back to the way it was. So if you get the cursor, go down to the little bar, alright, the right hand side, the little square box, click on it, drag it back right, and it makes the clip smaller, and you can zoom in, zoom out. Alright, now that's not changing the duration of the clip at all. All that's doing is allowing you to it's easier to cut frame by frame. So I'm going to zoom, so just that again, zoom in, okay. So I've got that again, I want to take that out, razor blade, okay, C, V, pointer, click, left click on the clip that I want to delete, press backspace or delete, gets rid of it, left click to select the gap that's missing, right click to pick up ripple delete. So I'm now going to join the two bits of Play-Doh, if you like, and I'm going to take it back. Always take back the timeline over the cut you've just done to have a look at it to make sure it's smooth. So spacebar to play, and there you go. That you would never know that there was a guy in a by a fire hydrant spraying water in this clip, because I've now got rid of it. So I'm now going to expand it up again, so zoom out of the clip until my timeline, okay? And remember, none of that zooming and zooming out affects the actual video itself. All that's doing is allowing you to be more precise in your cutting. In the same way, if you leant down towards a bit of Play-Doh, you obviously, because it's bigger, because you're moving closer towards it, it's easier, more precise to make a cut. So after we've done that, you may want to decide things like adding music, okay, and that's fine. So what we're going to do is going to go find some music. So you can download music off YouTube and stuff like that, use a converter, you know, Google it, you'll find loads, okay? So what I want to do is find some music. Let's see, what have I got here? See if I can find some music. So I've got, you know, it'll be MP3, you get loads of files, you know, when you convert it, what you want, the sound, music, anything like that is MP3, okay? And I've got David Bowie Sound and Vision here, whatever it is, you just drag it, okay? So again, click on the sound file, so the music file that you've converted from YouTube or whatever like that, drag it down to Premiere Pro, and you can either literally just drop it straight onto the timeline, or I would advise this for those of you just starting out, in the bottom right hand corner, sorry, bottom left hand corner of the footage bin, drop it in there, okay? But even if I didn't do that, alright, and I literally took the David Bowie Sound and Visions music and I went to the timeline, it doesn't matter, I could drag it, so long as it's on audio, I can drop it, doesn't matter. But the idea is that you want to line everything up. So if I left it here, it's not going to play with the clip, because you can see that the clip is it's earlier in the timeline, and over here David Bowie's Sound and Vision is further in the timeline, and it doesn't match up to the video file. Now what I'm going to do is move the David Bowie Sound and Vision song. I'm going to put it right, so it's just under, so it's in audio 2. Audio 1, remember, is anything that went into the camcorder, so you talking, and audio 2 is any additional, and you can also add more. Audio 2 will be your first piece of either voiceover or music. So let's have a look. So, oh yeah, I muted it, didn't I? So this is the same clip. So if I take the clip away, let's listen for a sec. So I haven't got David Bowie on here yet, alright?
It's going to be a scorcher today. Universal Pictures presents a new film.
Okay, so then if I add David Bowie's Sound and Vision, okay, I'm going to go back so you can see exactly right from the beginning again. Now listen.
It's going to be a scorcher today.
So you can hear the original dialogue from the original video, alright, and also I've put David Bowie's music on top of it, so it's playing both soundtracks at the same time. Now when it comes to sound editing, okay, what many people make a mistake doing is they think, oh, that'll do, right? So the trouble is you've got the lyrics of the music playing and the music and the voiceover from the original clip, so it's a complete mess. And what people do is they usually hand that in, and it's a nightmare to try and understand what's going on because you've got different voices overlaying each other. So let's just suppose for a sec that you want to play and you want to raise one of the soundtracks up and lower the other one at certain times. That's easy. What you want to do is come to audio 1, okay, so let's just say what we want to do is get rid of or lower the soundtrack for Do the Right Thing, the actual video sound, all right, as opposed to the Bowie sound and Vision that we've added. All right, what you want to do is come down to where it says Audio 1, and you'll see like a triangle. Click on the triangle, and suddenly it expands, and what you'll get is underneath that is the sound waves from the actual clip. And what you can do is, and I would advise zooming in again, so remember, so go down the bottom and expand so you can see it better, okay? So let's say I want to get rid of everything before this old man starts talking, okay? So what I'm going to do is, there's several things you can do. You can either get rid of the sound completely, okay, so you would play it like that, okay, and then you razor blade it, alright, but what you want to do is also, at this point, you can't get rid of the sound and unless you get, what you need to do is right click the video clip, click unlink, so then now watch over here, if I press delete, both the sound and the actual picture goes. Alright? But then if you like, you do what over here, you right click the video file and you go unlink, okay? And then you can delete. So you can choose either the picture, the image on the timeline, or the sound clip on the timeline, and press delete. So I'm going to get rid of the sound. If I get rid of the sound, all you're going to get now is David Bowie. And you're not going to get that annoying clash between the sound coming from the original video and David Bowie's sound and vision. So let's put it back. So you can go edit, undo. You can remember, it's like a Word document. You can always undo. If you make a mistake, go to edit, undo, and it will go back to a step. Alright? So let's have a look at this again. So let's suppose, yeah, I'm quite happy to get rid of all that noise. Alright, so it sounds better now that I've got rid of that background noise as the clip starts. So you'll notice that as the man was talking there, that it's really hard to hear him with the Bowie music on top. That's no problem. So what you want to do is come down to Audio 2, and again, you want to press the little arrow. Alright, bring the cursor over to the little arrow, you can't miss it. Click on it, and it will expand, alright, the clip. Alright, now sometimes you'll find that you feel a bit cramped on the timeline, but you can move all these boxes. All you've got to do is move, or resize them. So you bring the cursor and you just find something like that, and it will turn into like a downwards line and two arrows pointing left and right. That means I can, you know, make things bigger and smaller. Since I don't ever really use the screen on the left, I'm literally going to expand it. Alright, now I want to see more on the timeline here, especially since I'm dealing with more of the actual the streams. Okay, so the different streams. So I'm going to expand. So I lose a bit of the size in terms of when I'm looking at my project, but what I'm gaining is I can see more of the timeline in terms of the different tracks. Okay, each of these are called a track. You have video tracks and audio tracks. You have video track 1, video track 2, video track 3. You don't need all of those necessarily, but they're good to have. And same, audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. So different tracks for audio as well. So what I'm going to do, so you can hardly hear that man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it back to just after he stops talking. Okay, and to make my life easy, I'm going to actually, remember, you can use the razor blade without actually taking anything out. All you're doing is like cutting. You're literally slicing a line. And I use that often, a little tip for you. I use the razor blade to mark out things for me so I know where it is. Okay, because the good thing is when you start razor blading along the clip, okay, what you can do is to save time rather than like going like step by step backwards or forwards or dragging the timeline up and down with the cursor, okay, it's great. If you press up and down now, it will literally jump to where you last cut. And that's so invaluable in terms of time and your sanity. So you can see the red line that literally going to every time I've made a slice. Because you see there's a huge chunk here where I literally bang, bang, and it's huge, the jump. Okay, that's because I've made absolutely no cuts to that piece of footage. So, here we go. So you can hardly hear that man, alright? So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to when he starts talking, and we're going to come down to audio 2. There's several ways of doing this, but I'm probably going to teach you the best way of doing it, okay? So what you want to do is come down here, so on the timeline itself, again, so you go to the left hand side where it says audio 2, where the grey area, in the same way where you clicked the little arrow to expand the audio track, you come over here and you'll have a little diamond, and it's called a keyframe. Click that. Oh, sorry, right, the other thing is you've got to actually left click on whatever it is you want to work on. You've actually got to left click it and highlight it. Then you can add what's called a keyframe. When I click that, okay, so you go to this little arrow here, you can see, you click it, sorry, the little diamond, click on the diamond, and if you look, as soon as you do, over here, a little diamond appears on your actual audio. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, that marks out one piece of area. Alright, so that's when I want to start dipping the sound, so then we can hear the man. Alright, so obviously it starts really just after that. So what I want to do is, literally after you've put the diamond there, the keyframe diamond, you literally move it ever so slightly, even just a frame onwards by pressing the right cursor key, literally. And then what you want to do is add another keyframe and click on it. So now you've got two keyframes there. You want to click on the second one and then click on it and drag it down. And what you'll see immediately is the two diamonds not being near each other anymore, and that the little yellow line, which is the volume, goes down. Okay, so now let's check it out. So we've gone back to the original music from, but you can also hear him better now. So after he's finished talking, let's say I now want to bring the music back up. Okay, so I've paused it, the timeline, just after he's talked. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put another keyframe there. Alright, now the trouble is, you don't want to drag that up, because if you do, alright, that's just one that you've done there to say, alright, well that's when I want the music to come back up. What happens is, it will start. So actually, it starts silent, but then gets slowly louder, because what you're doing is it's going upwards, okay? So as he's talking, it comes up, and that's the trouble. We want to still hear him talking, even at the end of what he's saying. So we're going to take that back. So edit, undo. Okay, so that's great. It brings it straight back to where we were. Okay, so let's have a look. So after that, you just literally, after you've keyframed it again, you just literally want to, just after you put it on the timeline, just after the keyframe, press another add remove keyframe, add another one. You'll see it just like we did before. When we dipped the sound, we added two keyframes very close together. One is almost like a marker, so it keeps the rest of the sound before you want to dip the sound the same. Otherwise it will just dip everything. So we're going to raise that up to bring up the soundtrack, but okay, so literally it's going to dip down and then back up again. So let's bring that back again. So you're going to hear music, dips, and then it dips back up again. There's lots of other things you can do with Premiere Pro. It's fantastic. I'm addicted to it. I've been banned from using it at home because my wife gets annoyed that I spend half the night video editing. But it's so much fun when you get the hang of it. Right, so let's suppose that I'm done. Okay, so what you want to do is, let's say, just for argument's sake, that all I want is the bit that I've done. So, okay, so I can cut everything else I don't want. Okay, you can highlight clips like by dragging. So literally, if I want to get rid of all those, I literally left click above it and I drag. You can see a box. Okay, so as I'm dragging it, you can see that it's highlighting everything that I don't want. Okay, but make sure that you've razor bladed and separated everything you do want from everything you don't want. Okay, so now when I press delete, it will disappear. Now I'm left with just this bit over here, the bit where we were editing. So look. Okay, and then that's it. It doesn't go any further because that's the end. Okay, so up here on the timeline, you'll notice throughout there's a yellow line. It's either red or yellow, okay? While you're filming, that's fine. As in, oh, sorry, when you're editing, that's fine, okay? But what you need to do is make that green, that little line green. And the reason is, to explain it, video footage, digital footage is like binary. It's lots of ones and zeros, and it's a stream of information. All right, and it just streams and streams and streams. You might find that when you go on, say, video games or anything like that, that when you move something like the cursor or move a picture, it's pixelated. And if you've ever used Photoshop before, you know that it's pixelated when you move it around. And then it needs to do something called rendering to make it clear. Okay, so if I was to export this footage into a video file the way it is, it won't be very good. The quality won't be very good, and it will probably be very jumpy because I haven't rendered it. So what you need to do is you get the cursor, come up to the top where you've got the options, go to sequence, click on it, and you go to render entire work area. Click on that, and then what it does is this will take, you saw it, that was very quick what you just saw. Depending on the length of your clip, that will probably take a bit longer, but luckily, because this is only a few seconds long, it was very quick. Okay, so now you'll see that that little yellow line's gone green. That's great, that's all we need. So now you go to the arrow again, go to File, and I would highly recommend that throughout your editing that you're saving anyway. Okay, but save it. You can either save it through File, or you can press Control S to save it. Every now and again it should automatically save, but don't take that chance. So come up to File again after we've saved it, File, Export, alright, Export Media, click that option, okay, you've got your video here, it's showing you the thumbnail again from the actual clip, and then literally my recommendation is leave everything alone if you possibly can, okay, come over to Output Name, in the top right hand of this dialog screen, so you got something called output name, and you'll notice that the writing is orange, so you can't miss it. Click on the orange writing, it usually says sequence 1. Click on that. Now, when we first started this video, you'll remember that I said I've set it up to go to my USB, okay, my external hard drive, or in your case you might want to use a pen drive, whatever, that's fine. So that saves you time trying to hunt for that now. It should automatically show you that folder that you prepared right at the beginning. And you want to call it something, so you call it, so I'm going to call this Mr. Kyle's Science Video, because I dare say that's what you're doing. Okay? I press Enter, or you can click on Save. I'm going to press Save. So now that they're up there in the top right hand corner of the screen is now changed that output name. And that's literally all you have to do. And then what you want to do is come down here, finally, and press Export. There's the option that says Export. Click on that. Another little dialog bar comes up. And as you can see, the progress bar, it's literally turned it into a video file. Okay, so I've sent it to my USB. So let's say, for argument's sake, like lots of people do, you go, oh no, I've forgotten actually where I've put it, and I have actually forgotten what I've called the video file. That's alright, go back to Premiere Pro again, go File, Export, Media, okay, so then you want to click on Output Name again, and look, so there it is, there's the video, Mr. Carl's Science Video, because I've already done it, alright, so it will show, it literally goes back to where you last saved whatever it is you saved. So there it is, I've put it into some other folder I want to find. I don't know how it got there. So if you've found that you've put it in the wrong place, that's fine. You can click on it, right click, cut. Alright, so I'm going to put it somewhere else on my USB. So I'm just literally going to just put it literally on the first. So Mr. Carl's Science Video. I would highly recommend you write down what the file's called, and then you can obviously search for it in the search bar, and that can be done that way. Okay, So I'm going to cancel all this again because I know that my video clip is done. So shut everything down. You don't need Premiere Pro anymore. Okay, so if I was to upload to, I'm going to show you, I've got a website that I use for my media students, and I'm just going to show you how to do it. So once you've got the page, okay, you're on your YouTube channel. I dare say that apparently there's a science YouTube channel. Alright, so you would go to upload, or Mr. Sir will probably do this for you. So for me, you can just literally go to here in the top right hand screen of the YouTube channel, click on the little camera and go upload video. Okay, and then you literally got select files to download. You can select by clicking, or you can drag and drop, which is probably the best bit. So I'm going to find my video file again. So I say, oh no, I can't find it. So, oh no, I can't find it. Okay, so I just remember the word science, so I'm going to type in science and enter, and there it is, Mr. Carl's science video. Drag that video clip and drop it where it says to drop it on the YouTube page, and literally off it goes. It's downloading already, and you have to let it do what it's doing. Okay, you can write a description about what the video is. You can change the title. I won't get any more complicated than that because there's no need. So now it's processed it, and a little thumbnail appears here in the top left hand screen to tell you it says processing done, and I press on the the right hand side of the screen. There's a button that says publish. I'm going to publish it. Alright, so you press publish, and now that is on my channel. So I'll go back, so my channel, and there it is, Mr. Kyle's science video, and that is now on the YouTube channel. So I press that, it's now going to play it on YouTube.
It's gonna be a score.
And that's it. That's all you've got to do.